In previous video, we talked about what American produce and how American produce, but we forgot an important role, that is government. So what is the role of the government? Before we specifically talk about the role, we need to think about the market reliant economics and the government-dominated economics. Generally speaking, the market-reliant economics grow faster than the government-dominated economics. So why? The reason is because when entrepreneurs have freely pursue opportunity in the market, they have innovated and created new products. This leads to faster economic growth. However, when government owns the factors of the production, impose high taxes, or tightly regulated output, there is little incentive to design new products or pursue new technology. So can you imagine if the government imposed a high tax on the renewable energy, do you think the people still want to explore the renewable energy? The answer should be definitely no. So you can see how the government played a role in growing the economics. So now what is the specific role for the government? So the first is providing a legal framework, such as the property rights, the rule of the law. So you can find another video on my linkage about the private property. You will have more idea about the property rights. So that is really very important. Without the property rights, everybody can do whatever they want, and the people will have no incentive to work hard in order to because people's property will not be protected. And the second role of the government is protecting the environment. So before I talk about it, I want you to watch a video about what happened in recent weeks.
The governor of Ohio has declared a state of emergency in and around the city of Toledo. Tests show the area's water is toxic and no one should drink it. As Mark Albert tells us, some 500,000 people now have no water.
Residents in Toledo and nearby communities on Saturday quickly bought up water bottles, leaving store shelves empty after health officials declared the public water supply off limits. Toledo Mayor Michael Collins.
We have used every single resource throughout the state of Ohio, including now up in Michigan, in order to bring a supply of water to get us over this first period.
City officials say a recent test at a water treatment plant found a spike in the level of microcystin, a toxin that comes from algae found naturally in lakes and ponds. When ingested, it can cause numbness, nausea, vomiting, rashes, and even affect the liver. 500,000 residents in 3 northwest Ohio counties who get their water from the Toledo water system have been warned not to drink it or let children bathe in it. Boiling will not eliminate the contamination and will make the water more toxic.
We cannot really and truly tell you what that plan is at this time because we're waiting on the science.
There you go.
It's the second high-profile water contamination this year. In January, 300,000 West Virginia residents could not use the water for 10 days after a chemical spill. In Ohio, the city of Toledo is now setting up water distribution centers with help from the National Guard, but cannot yet tell residents when the public water supply will once again be safe. Mark Albert, CBS News, Washington.
Wow, I think most of you already know the news. When I watched the news, I was shocked. Wow, it's so close. Should I do something to protect myself? Definitely no. So from this video, you will realize if we let the industry go by themselves, we can find our environment cannot be protected. We do need the government to help out. No matter before the environmental problem happen or after the environmental problem happen, and people need to rescue it. So why the government need to protect the environment? Because when the factory have their production behavior, they generate the negative externalities. and we will spend some time to talk about externality in the following chapters. But now you should know the externality is about the second party generates something affect the third party, and especially those things will be harmful for the third party. So for the government, they need to eliminate the third party count. So for instance, they will impose a tax and to ask the factory to to install some equipment to clean their wastewater or clean their waste gas in order to reduce the environment pollution. So that is the second role for the government, protecting the environment. How about the rest? How about the others? So the third role of the government is try to protect the consumers. So can you think about your example, how the government trying to protect you? Yeah, obviously the product safety is the very important thing. So the government support a lot of officers every year to do the food safety tests. They want to figure out which food is health and which food are not health, which product produce healthily, which product produce unhealthily, and then they will report to the public immediately, or even use law, um, some legal action to stop the production or to ask them cease the production. So obviously, the third important role for the government is trying to protect the consumer. And how about the fourth, the last one? That is, government will try to protect the labor. Why? How did that happen? Can you think about some examples? So the typical example is the labor union. So the labor union is supported by the government most of the time, and they will make sure the workplace are safe, and they will offer for the government, they will pass the child labor law. They don't re, they don't allow they don't allow the factory to hire the child labor, and the compulsory schooling, they require the general public have certain level of the education and the minimum wages. So that is important, right? Everybody are caring about the minimum wages. So if the minimum wages increase, everybody will live a happy life, not right? Oh no, maybe no, because it can cause inflation. And also the overtime provisions, all those things are be protected by the government. So remember, the four roles of the government: providing a legal framework, protecting the environment, protecting consumer, and protecting labors. So now you can find during within among the three roles, the the among the four roles, three of them is the government try to protect the weak parties. So the environment is weak because they can do nothing but only just try to experience what the people have done, and and for the consumer, they are weak because they don't have symmetric, complete information about the producer, so they need to be protected. How about labor? So most of the time, labor work for the boss. They also don't have enough information, and so the government need to stand out, say they need to protect the consumer and the labor.